How we doing, everybody? It's crazy times that are going on right now. Seems like the modern day of life is, you know, feels a lot meaningless. Really looking around at the moment here and what's going on. The world's going completely nuts. A lot of people have sold their souls, left their vessels. Humanity's been pretty well on an extinction for a while, where they've just walked away from themselves or, entered into the NPC. I was out last week and having a little bite to eat and sitting there in a busy place, and, you gotta have a little patience in life and, and let them do what they need to do to get the job done. And so, it's something that, we all have to work through at times when we want to have everything right now. But as I was waiting there to take an order, and lady looks at me, smiles, comes up, and I go to read off my order, and she walks away and walks down the other end of the room and stands there and takes an order from somebody else. I was trying to figure out what's going on. And meanwhile, I had a plate of something else sitting there, and everybody kept walking by and wanting to grab it. And and you can just see the disconnect, in the energies and the different, way people are acting, and definitely not on a normal, page these days. Especially, empaths are really feeling the, the energetic pull, as many do, as the gravitational of the earth, evolves and changes. We've had, quite a few earthquakes here just rocked the energy, and it's always hard on the nervous system. And, our nervous system is taking a beating right now. And as I've, been really witnessing in the last few weeks that, was doing little tallies and little models of, what's happening. I've noticed that a lot more people in humanity is turning their back on me a lot lately. And, it's pretty sad, and it hurts. It hurts to see that humanity is gone in the avenue they've gone. It's one of the things that somebody else has reminded me about, is that, when people, either let the enemy in, or they change their faith, and or they completely exile their faith and walk away from it, that, the fear steps in right away. As we tend at times to be uncertain, uncomfortable, anxious around people and situations, human experiences, and our journeys of our lives and our mind through programs and old ways and habits, as we are trying to remove and open our expansion for love, creativity, truth, to do the clearing, to be able to receive a receptive mind, the flow of happiness, bliss, and joy, even when the negative finds us, sitting quiet with our thoughts and not saying anything while we go within to hear with what's to guide us, the devil or the negative energy. In the energy field all around us, in the universe, always tries to sway us back to keep us in a karmic cycle of a low vibration and an energy. And as you've probably been realizing, a lot of people are, falling into a typical loop that's going over and over. It's to test and challenge us as we try to find the key to opening the door to find our way out. Where a lot of people are not even finding their way out of the matrix. They're still going to that worthless job, hanging around with worthless people that don't resonate with them. We've been watching all this social media, and the spiritual and non-spiritual, and the fake gurus and the fake prophets, and, the people that want to, use the, all the prophets' names in vain, and as you're watching the Antichrist work at its finest moments right now, and it's a lot of stuff isn't resonating, and we get pulled back a little bit. But as we do, our nervous system really picks up the clairs and feels these intense moments when you have to fall into this, and we try to guard our energy as much as we can, and stay in the truth. The biggest thing right now is that there's no more sugarcoating. The truth is, and a lot of people are walking around on eggshells and pins and needles, and that's not what we're here to do. You're given the armor, you're given the guard to and all the little tools in the basket, and the keys and the codes to stand in the truth, and nobody can tell you otherwise. You got to stay in the heart. Got to stay in the higher frequency. Which is if you've checked into it, what's God's frequency? It's 963 is the number, and 111 is the divine. And to hear me, it's you've got to quieten your mind and go inside, and sit for a while. If you got to get out into the wilderness season, or get out on the beach, grounding is the biggest thing at this moment that is required. To stay grounded lots. Even when the earth is shaking at its moment. As we suppression is a common response and experience to unpleasant, unwanted emotions, but it's not a healthy response. And when we're not anchored in, that's the type of things that can get onto us, these type of attachments, and pull us back. And even I, was jumping in to save many, which I don't normally want to do, but sometimes we have to, and you can feel that, pull that, and you got to get back to ground, back to reset, keep yourself, on that higher vibe. Keep your, your alignment, your chakra, and pay attention to those, sensors and signals that are screaming at you when you're turning back, because we don't turn back. Once we're out, we're out. It's a hard thing, especially when you're watching loved ones and, family members and friends and coworkers and everything jumping, in the other direction, and I know that first and foremost at this moment. It's hurting my heart a lot to see the decisions that are being made. And all I can say at this moment is that there's got to be a lot more repentance going on. They've got to find their way out, but the peer pressures, the ego, the pride, all of it is playing a big part in a lot of these big communities and stuff right now. The news is doing a phenomenal job as the devil's PR, is singing at them all day long and keeping them, locked into the bread and circus, of all the antics and shenanigans, and it just pulls them right into the fearscape, but it's but as these unpleasant and unwanted emotions, it's a healthy response to learn how to undo their suppressions and our habits, instead of using healthy emotions and management strategies is the key to helping us respond to our negative emotions more quickly, faster, and rate as easily as we get control of our minds. And we feed off other emotions around unconsciously, where we consent and adjust and balance every day. And that's a constant thing. And especially when we're in bigger communities, we can struggle a little bit, but that's where we protect our own space, and we have that freedom to bow out and go in our directions that we need, and healthy. And if you get angry and you get mad, and a lot of it is healthy anger, as we're brushing off some of the stuff we've been jostlated for so long in these programs and stuff, and your heart is screaming at you, your inner child is screaming at you. That's a big one. As we're come onto the earth as very young, as we're born in, and we're start with some real serious programming that comes on us, and depending on our relationships, our families, our lifestyles, and everything else, our inner child can get a little bit josslated, and and go through some real traumas and some real situations. And big thing is about being a kid, and you can look at many ages, or you can say is how old did you feel, but honestly inside you, it's the child in you that you get drawn back to. And it's a good thing for that relationship to stay with you. And the big thing is that if you're struggling with the inner child, or understanding what the inner child is, to talk. There's I've got something here that I've posted on another at another time, just on the inner child. And it's always a good thing to keep in the repertoire, as we're working through our signals, and our clairs, and raising our vibration. It's just a good thing for helping to heal. It says, I love you. Please keep laughing and smiling and finding joy in the little things you might make in life better. Thank you for reminding me that not everything has to be as serious all the time. You're definitely a pure, unsultry love, and that I love you so much for it. Never stop dancing, singing, experiencing expressing yourself in whatever way you feel right to you. You were put on the earth to be you. I know you have been hurt and put down, and for that I'm sorry. I will never listen to anyone who tries to get you to dim your light, any of your light, ever again. To my inner child. And it's just apologies basically for all the things that have come. But at the same time, I will not apologize to any worthless or narcissistic or any other trash out there. At the end of the day, that's done damage to you, and you gotta know your self-worth, and know that you have a few of these things to have a discussion with yourself. As these people are running around us, and selling their souls to the flam and the glam and the fame and the the ego and the pride, and these types of jobs, and this look and image, and the money, and all the different things that you watch all day long. We've been watching them for decades go in this direction, and this is why the earth is going in such a volatile spiral right now, and humanity is falling into the snares and the trap, as the darkness always tries to infiltrate and come into these cracks and tears where it finds its least resistance. But as we know that we have some of these tools to protect ourselves, and keep our own wealth, which is our health, and our joy, and finding our way to the better vibe, and a better life, because it's there. It's calling. There's an exit. There's a door. And I know that it's hard when you're looking at all the other stuff that's constantly coming at us, but we don't have to take that anymore. We know what our truth is. It's not about having a fight every 5 minutes with whoever's around you and all that stuff. It's just not worth giving up that energy. It's to bow out, and to go. Humanity's going to make a decision shortly on where they stand, and it is already. There's two types of people out there right now. It's a 2-lane blacktop at this moment. And as you raise your vibration, and you tune in, because there's so much frequency of static, a lot of noise out there that's going on, at all levels, everything, just in the streets, to the social media, to our day-to-day lives. Even if we're not partaking in a lot of the stuff, Subliminally it's still out there, especially in these cities and heavier communities and stuff. And if you don't have that out or that place to go, to get far away, get around the tree, get out by the ocean, other places so you can clear yourself, it's just, we take the few things and we shut out what we can. But, when it comes time to knowing what you're worth, what the truth is, you can't sit there and suppress it any longer and drown it out. And, you have to hold it and stay in it, and especially empaths, they know this. I mean, they can feel it, and then they feel so many others, and they want to go in the room and help others and everything else. But, there's been enough stuff put out there for everybody at this point now, and it's just that, it's a hard road. And, you got to keep shining and smiling and keep as much love and light and keep raising this, because this is what, we want for the earth, even though it's got some dark times right now. But like I said, we got to keep our inner child checked in, keep ourselves checked in, keep our health up, keep eating sustainable, best foods as we can, even though there's always something out there coming at us, and we'll just, keep your energy and keep your frequency open and listen, and listen to the right individuals, everything from the angels to what speaks through your heart, and like I said, stay in the childlike and happy, go lucky, let the rest fall away as much as it can. So have yourself a blessed, wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.